Hi, everybody. Welcome to this fourth day of event of the WIE International Leadership Summit. We're really happy to join and be part of this great opportunity to share with you an amazing experience today in a panel that we're going to have, and it's going to be really awesome. So we hope you are engaged with all of us. Welcome to this day that we're going to continue sharing and doing networking. I'm going to introduce you a little bit all the things that we're doing with IEEE and Women in Engineering. So things that I want to share, all of the things that are happening during this week. We are working really close, and the idea is to have this 5 days event with regional opportunities to foster networking, mentorship, and collaboration with all of the people from the region of Latin America and the Caribbean. A little bit about IEEE for the people that is going to be connected here. IEEE is the world's largest technical professional organization dedicated to advancing technology for the benefit of humanity. We are more than 400,000 members from over 160 countries, from different cities. There's a lot of conference, publications, technology standards, and professional and educational activities. And Women in Engineering is a group and initiative that is part of IEEE, and what the things that we're doing as volunteers is dedicating to promote the women that study engineer and STEM careers or STEM fields, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics areas. The idea is to inspire more girls and people around all these topics. We have a really interesting activity from Women in Engineering, and is the International Leadership Summit that is being working in different countries. And in this year, there's 3 countries that have this possibility to do this event, but due to the COVID and due to all of the things that are happening with this pandemic, we decided to work together and make this virtual event, to make this virtual summit, and continue working and more focus on how can we approach and connect all of the region with this activity. So our purpose with this International Leadership Summit from Women in Engineering is to make more visible and leading women into technology, to foment the work of diverse teams, to potentiate the personal and professional skills, to reflect the use of technology as a social tool to inspire and to get together with distinguished local and international speakers that are being part of these days of activities. The agenda that we have been working on during all these days has been inspiring talks from Panama, from Brazil, and from Colombia. We have amazing speakers during all these 3 days before this. I think that you can find everything in the YouTube channel and in the Facebook channel. There's everything now recorded, and you can see again what's happening in here, what we talk, all the comments that we have, really good impressions about each of these inspiring talks. And today we have a joint panel session with some speakers, really great speakers from each of these 3 countries. After all this presentation, we're gonna have more detail about all this panel, but the focus of the panel are gonna be leadership and empowerment of women in engineering and STEM fields. Of course, it's gonna be the presentation and participation with diverse experience in all of these topics. Tomorrow we're gonna have an in-conference session, and this in-conference session is gonna be for IEEE members and volunteers from the region and from all of the regions if they want to participate. It's gonna be at 5 p.m. GMT +5. So the idea is for all of you to participate, to connect, and to start and continue doing a lot of networking with all of us. We have also a photo contest, so you can continue sending information, sending the photo that represents the ILS and represents the region, our culture. So the idea is, if you have something that you want to post it, please send us your photo, and then we're going to see who's going to be the winner. And the winner is going to receive Amazon gift cards, 2 Amazon gift cards from about $25. So I think that's going to be really useful for a lot of us. So please join this photo contest. And also on Saturday, we're going to have a Women Empower session. This is going to be really interesting, that we are meeting with the IEEE Power and Energy Society. The idea of this session is to talk about the experience of different volunteers around the world with success stories of volunteering in IEEE, in power and energy, and the power in women in power activities. So please join that activity also on Saturday. It's going to be at 11 in the morning, Colombia and Ecuador, Panama time, but you can see in all of the times of the region what's going to happen in here. Please join all of our channels. We are posting a lot of information on Instagram from different activities from women in engineering in the region. In Facebook, we are also posting everything. And in YouTube, we are posting all of these activities and the videos and this conference. So you can find all this information here. So please follow us and give us a comment to see how everything is going. And if you have any doubt, and if you want to comment, and if you want to recommend us a speaker, an activity or something, we really want to hear you. Behind all of these activities, there's a organizing committee, a really long organizing committee from Panama, from Brazil, and from Colombia, and of course, led by Rosa, who is the Women in Engineering Chair for Region 9, that is Latin America and the Caribbean. But we are all having and focus on this effort in leadership of these activities. So there's a lot of people that I really want to thank them to all of the things that they're doing to promote this activity and to connect all of the people in the region here. If you haven't registered for the activity tomorrow and for the activities that we're going to have on Saturday, please register. This is the code, this is the link. So, and join all of the activities that we're doing. And I think that it's time to see and to show who's going to be starting this panel. I want to introduce our moderator. That's going to be Jenifer. Jenifer Castillo is a mechatronic engineer graduated from the San Buenaventura University in Bogota, Colombia. It's MBA International Enterprises from the Polytechnic University of Puerto Rico. She currently works for Parker Hannifin Corp. That's a Fortune 250 company, where she is the territory manager of the Caribbean, is in charge of business development in all of the different islands and the Guyanas. She is IEEE senior member and being part of IEEE as member and volunteer for 16 years. And she's gonna be she's part of the WIE committee, and she's gonna be the committee chair, WIE committee chair for 2021. So Jenifer, I want to thank you for being part of this. Thanks for being and activating all of this activity and supporting us to create and have this ILS virtually. So you have the word to lead all this panel. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ana, and thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rosa, Ana, Gabriel, Susana, for the organization and all your teams. We know this is a team effort. And thank you, all the attendees. Well, today we're going to try to share with you a little bit about the experience that each of us has. And of course, try to squeeze as much information as possible from the panelists that will be joining us today. So today's panel is going to be, of course, some powerful, amazing women sharing with us some of the experience, but also we decided to invite a man to this panel. It's not very usual, but IEEE WIE Women in Engineering has been working very hard during this year to promote a pledge within IEEE. And if you cut me some slack, I'm going to read it because the wording is difficult to memorize, but it's very powerful and very important. So IEEE WIE pledges to end same-sex panels and IEEE conference and events, including our own. IEEE WIE supports diverse and inclusive opinion from any gender that will lead to more creative, interesting, and representative panels across IEEE. So this is why it's so important to start this change in our own home. And this is why we are inviting a man, but also we are inviting Alberto. Alberto is our Region 9 director, is an IEEE board member, and is a good friend of mine. I care about him a lot. And thank you, Alberto. Welcome.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you very much, Jenifer, for your kind invitation to participate in this panel this evening.
No, thank you for joining us. So, Alberto, would you like to introduce yourself a little bit before we begin?
Sure. So my name is Alberto Sanchez. I'm from Ecuador. Work currently at the Universidad San Francisco de Quito for the last 9 years. But before that, I used to work for Petrobras. And before that, I used to work in the European Union in basically academic research. So that's more or less. And I've been director for 2020 and 2021.
Director during the pandemic. What an
Yes.
interesting thing. So, Alberto, to begin with you, would you like to share with us a little bit about your projects as the educator, as a part of industry in the past, as you were sharing with us?
Well, sure. Well, as an educator for the last 11 years at Universidad San Francisco de Quito, I have to tell you that the university in which I work is it's the top university in Ecuador, according to the rankings. But what's interesting is that it's completely privately funded, uh, and that was mainly possible because one of the main characteristics of this university is that freedom is the main the main drive for people to work here. And it's interesting that, and actually I have to say this, the first Ecuadorian non-IEEE affiliated, let's call it, movement for women in science and engineering, which is called WISE in my university, was founded actually in my university by a couple of colleagues of mine, women and men. So it's very interesting. We do hold several projects, but I have to tell you that in my department until last year, we were only 8 men, no women. And last year, we recently hired two female professors to work with us. So it's been a very big change, and I think the students feel very, very comfortable with that. Actually, they have told us that it's been the best decision that the department has taken. So yeah, that's one of our projects in diversity and inclusion. We feel very important. Regarding the technical field, do you like to hear something about that?
Yeah,
Or
why not?
yeah, well, regarding the technical field, we've been working a lot. My area is power electronics, so basically I work on that, power electronics and control. And it's interesting that uh, in my area, the most people who are very interested in this are actually our female students. We have I have 3 female students working with me right now on power electronics projects, and just about 2 students, 2 male students. And one of the other professors who joined the department last year is also a professor in power electronics. So we've built up a very, very nice group, and we are currently working on solid state transformers. So we're trying to get it engaged with industry. It's a very new field all around, but it's more new in Ecuador. So there's not many applications. So we're trying to build up a community on that right now.
Good, good. Thank you. Um, well, the organizers of the panel wanted or suggested us to talk about a project that we may have worked together. I think the regional meeting was a big project with all the pandemic and everything, and was a very good experience to work with you, as you believe in your team and you trust in your team and you give the freedom for us to make decisions, and regardless gender or country. And I do have to say that was very good. It's very comfortable to work with you. So in the next question that we have for you is, if you would like to share some experiences in educational field or in the technical field, regarding the participation of women in engineering, that you already mentioned something, but which difference do you feel that having a woman part of your team may make or have made in your experience? And if you feel that the number of females working in these environments have changed over the years and in the university that department where you work?
Well, yeah, I actually have quite an interesting experience, which happened around 10 years ago. I was just coming back from, no, it's actually more than 10 years ago, almost 15 years ago. I was just coming back from my PhD, studies, and I joined the university at that time. And it was very strange because at that time, my first course on electrical engineering uh, was basically 10 women and 2 men. There were 10 female students and just 2 male students. Never happened again. It never happened again since I've been there. But it was a very strange course because of these disparity in numbers, which is not very common at all. So that's something I knew. But regarding projects and what I believe women can bring into projects, to be honest with you, I've always think of females as my peers. So I've never seen like them above or below. I've always seen them as my peers. So our understanding of the field is basically our commitment to projects and to working together is basically on a professional basis, and we are peers, completely peers. I've never seen a difference, at least from my point of view. I have seen differences between students, for example. Unfortunately, I've seen that sometimes, not because of the students, the male students, treat different the female students, but more from the female students. Sometimes they feel, I don't know what's the right word in English, but they feel like there's too many men, so they just try to stay a bit on their side and not exposing the whole potential they have sometimes. Uh, this has happened a couple of times. I've seen it, but we try to encourage them to work in groups and don't feel like that. I had an interesting meeting this morning actually with one of my students, and because of this panel, I actually asked her, what were her feelings, and she told me that when she took the career at the beginning, she felt she was not going to be able to cope with because she never had a STEM experience before. Like she never got into circuits or was interested in that much. And she actually felt that once she joined the university, she was going to have a very big trouble trying to, match the degree of knowledge of the boys. But she actually told me, once I was here, I just realized that they knew nothing as I did. So it was really interesting. And she said, well, it's just a matter of perception. And it's actually what society implies of these careers rather than what actually they are. So that was a strange feeling. And one of the questions I told her, this is actually another question I've asked her, sorry, was, what do you think is the best way to get women involved into these type of careers? And she said, well, the main driver would be to see more women actually in these careers. So if you see more women, it will be easier for women to join in these careers. So that's, I think, one of the special things that women in engineering and IEEE stands for. Like bringing all these role models that women are very successful in engineering, and they are peers. They are completely professional, competent peers.
Absolutely. Well, Alberto, thank you very much for sharing with us. We will call you to the panel in a minute again. We are going to keep moving forward with the rest of the panelists. Before I introduce our next panelist, I would like to share a little bit about IEEE WIE. Alberto opened a very good door or nice door to talk about one of the programs that we love in IEEE, that is the STAR, is our outreach program to promote IEEE, to promote actually the STEM careers within the young girls. And is what Alberto was saying, if they see more women in this kind of fields, they will feel motivated, empowered, and actually overcome what Alberto was mentioning, that has a name, the imposter syndrome, and just move forward to pursue their dreams, correct? In my personal experience, I always knew that, my mom always knew that I was going to be an engineer. I was a toughy one when I was a kid. I was trying to stick the forks in the electricity and everything, but it is determinant to see successful and empowered women in our fields to feel motivated. I also got a little question, and is where do I see WIE in the future? And that's something I wanted to mention here, because that's something I discussed with Alberto in Peru, I want to say, and is, where do we see that? Why do we need WIE, and where do we see WIE in 10 years? And to be honest with you and to share with you, what I see is that in 10 years, I hope that we don't need WIE, that we don't need a group that needs to push and empower and motivate girls and women to be in these fields. But it is natural, and society does not see gender, does not see any difference, and everybody is welcome, that no group is needed, correct? Okay, with that being said, I would like to invite our next panelist, that is Thais Cavinatto. Thais is the Global B2B Director in Ambev. Thais, thank you very much for being here. And just like Alberto, we would like to give you the floor to introduce yourself and share with us a little bit more about yourself.
Thank you so much, Jen. My name is Thais. I work at Inbev for the past 5 years. Prior to that, I did my MBA in economics at Chicago Booth, and prior to that, I was an investment banker in Goldman Sachs. So my career in tech started in the past 2 or 3 years, but I fell in love, so that's what I do now.
Good. I understand you, because I do work in business development, and it's a beautiful field.
Yeah.
Would you care to share with us a little bit about your main projects? What are you doing nowadays? Just to have a little visual of what do you do currently?
Of course. So AB InBev is going through a digital transformation, like most companies. If we don't do that, it's either doing that or dying. And like most companies, we are changing our entire process. So until now, the way we used to sell our products was through a sales rep, and the sales rep used to go to the POC and sell the products. What we're doing now, we're creating a B2B platform, and we're selling our products to the POC, and which is pretty amazing, because the POC can buy independently. We're building a platform, an ecosystem in which we can have reward points, so they can have fidelity. We can really track and gather data. We can give autonomy for them to purchase whatever they want. We can have algorithms there, and then we can build suggested orders that make sense to each type of clusters of POCs. So that's what we're doing. We're building this ecosystem. My role is to change the entire process of the sales reps. So these sales reps, they used to go to the POCs and do the order take. We want to change their mind. We want to change their process. We want to change their culture. We want them to do new things. We want them to help the POCs, to educate the POCs digitally. So we want these people that used to be sales reps to be more digital tech savvy, to understand more digital. We want them to be able to give insights for the POCs to grow. We want them to be able to do a better sellout execution. So we are changing the entire scenario. So what I do is I take care of the entire process, the entire culture change, and the product. So we are building this, and it's interesting because we usually have really cool products with amazing UX UI for the final consumers. We don't usually have really cool products for our employees. And I love the inspiration of Slack, that is actually a work app that is really has a really cool environment. It's really an amazing. There's this whoa thing, and that's what I want to do for our new. We're calling them business representatives. We don't call them sales rep anymore because we want them to consult. So I'm building this product, and I want them to have like an amazing UX UI. The way I'm building the product is really having all the engineering close to the BDRs, to our representatives, to really have this growing feeling. I'm starting really small and testing a lot of A/B testing and all types of tests. So that's what we're doing right now, really building this amazing product and changing the process and changing the culture.
So a walk in the park, correct?
Very easy. 40,000 people.
Very easy.
40,000 sales reps that we need to take. Of course,
sales representative mindset. That's really easy.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking.
Yeah.
But sounds really interesting. And actually, it's whomever is not moving in that path is what you were saying is going to be obsoleted in no time. Productivity at some point is going to depend on those kind of mindset switching. Absolutely. So when we see you in this position, business to business director, that's like many of our dreams there in the screen, correct? And we can't stop thinking about something called the glass ceiling, and is that transparent, that roof that it may seem invisible for many people, but for minorities and for women is there, and is when you're trying to go up and for some reason you feel you cannot move upward. That for at least in my point, I mean in mid-management, and that's something I know I'm going to see very soon. So we would like to take this opportunity and see if you can share with us how do you feel about it, if you ever felt it, how did you deal with it? This is certainly not an easy question, but I think we're with the right person.
No, it's not an easy question. So to be honest, I think there's the two ways of the glass ceiling. One of them is that you can really ramp up, and I've felt that. But lately, after I became a senior manager, and then I was a zone director, and now I'm a global director, the worst part of the glass ceiling lately, it has been the opposite. People saying that the only reason that I achieved whatever I achieved is because I'm a woman. And it's as prejudiced as when I couldn't achieve that because I was a woman. So there is no easy way out of this.
As if you were a quota.
What?
As if you were a quota.
Exactly. As if I were a quota. So the thing is, they don't see the little that I live, the amount of work I do, all my trajectory, everything I've done, everything I studied, everything I've read, everything I've been really focusing my entire life. Of course, people say, "Oh, of course, she's good, she's really competent. Everything she has done has had a great outcome." However, oh yeah, of course, she's reached this far because she's a woman. Sometimes I hear that. Like men, when they reach this far this soon, because I've been promoted recently, more like once a year I've been promoted, but. And when this happens to men, oh, it's only because they're really good, they're determined, they're very competent. When it's with us, it's the opposite. Oh, she's competent, but she's also a woman. So that's probably the quota thing. So that has been hard on me in the past 2 or 3 years. But before that, I used to work in investment banking. And in the beginning, I was, even my 2-3 positions ago, I used to be the head of a DDC, the biggest DDC in Brazil. I was the first time the first time a woman was the head of a big and complex DDC in Brazil, in this story of Ambev. And it was very hard when I got in there. It was hard to get in there. And one experience that I wanted to share is that even my employees, my team, I had a 1,000 people team, 92% of men. Even then, that what they were supposed to follow my lead in the first couple months. They didn't really understand the reason that I was there. It was very hard for them to respect and understand and follow my lead and understand why I was there, why I was placed there. And even though, because they were like the sales reps that we used to have 3 years ago, and the managers and the managers of the managers, but for them to, and they are at the base of the pyramid. So for them, they're not very used to be led by a woman. So it was a lot of talks, a lot of collaborative and open. And I always used to tell them, it's okay to ask. You can ask me anything. You just can act in a wrong way. But yes, I felt the glass ceiling, but we are here to fight together, and I'm sure it's getting better.
Absolutely. It's good to see somebody growing, and it's good to see the other side of the glass ceiling, correct? Because it's not only to go up, but also what are you going to see there, and be prepared for that as well. That's a fact. Thais, so nice to hear from you. We're going to introduce our next panelist, but we will call you in some minutes to discuss some other questions we have prepared for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
So our next panelist is Cesibel. Cecil Castillo is a business operations consultant in Dell. So thank you, Cecibel, for joining us. And the same than everybody, we would like you to introduce yourself first, please, and to know you a little bit more.
Yes, of course, Jen. Thank you so much for your invitation. I'm so happy to be here to share some experiences with you. I'm an industrial engineer. I have a master's degree on engineering with project management design. And I started working as a PM for the banking industry here in Panama, more on IT-related projects in the banking sector. So a lot of regulation, a lot of process design, a lot of informal and motivation on teams. So that's why when I hear Thais, I can totally relate on that. And later on, I went to study a second master's degree in management with the Fulbright scholarship at Duke University. So I'm passionate about projects. I'm passionate about technology and change management. And I'm also, another side of me is that I'm passionate about, I used to be a volunteer for our Ministry of Tourism. So I was a folkloric dancer here when I was back in the days when I was studying. So that's me, basically.
Very interesting. Thank you. So would you like to share with us a bit of a current interesting project that you're working that has you very connected, very passionate, just to know a little bit of your day?
Yeah. Well, I've been pretty much aligned with my project management side on the companies that I work for. So basically now I was more working towards a process and operations type of projects in banks, and now in my current role, I'm more into business strategy. So my main stakeholders now are it's the commercial team in Latin America. So I support them on creating strategies, designing processes that will help them achieve their goals in the mid and the long term. So it's a quite different approach on the business side. It's a past phase type of project too, because we need to move as quick as the market is moving. So it's a very challenging environment. I'm working also with sales all the time with our account executives and our sales reps. So yes, it's challenging, and you have to be passionate about what you do. I think that I really enjoy taking issues and defining and designing solutions. So yes, I think that will make you and your work different from somebody else.
And during a pandemic, that has changed everything. And projecting as we used to do in the 2019, not long ago, is not anymore the same process, and is a different challenge, correct?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that in that case, communication and a non-formal authority, motivation, especially when you're trying to align so many different areas on a common goal, communication is key. Take the time to understand that other side, and understand that on the other side there's somebody, there is a human being. Take the time to know your team, to know who you're working with. At the very end, we are all humans. We are not only work. So that and having that in mind will help you a lot on project management and
absolutely. Mm-hmm. Because right now priorities have changed, and that's an important part. So totally. I'm sorry. So Cesibel, I know that you're part of this movement, Women in Action initiative. I read a bit about it. It's so interesting. Would you like to share with us a little bit about it?
Exactly, totally. So I'm currently the Panama lead, co-lead, because I have my co-lead is Erian Vega. It's a man of Women in Action Panama. What is Women in Action? We are called an ERG. We have at Dell, we have employee resource groups that have different goals or topics, as you can say. For example, we do have Women in Action, we have Pride, we have Planet, we have Durability, we have Connexus. So each of these groups aligned interests from our employees. In the case specifically from Women in Action, our goal is to be that become this company that it's a destination employer for diversity, for inclusion, where women can take the ownership of their role, of their career, and make it whatever they want. And this is important because when we said empowering women in Women in Action, we work in terms of equality, gender equality. So as you can see, my co-lead is a guy. And for example, we have 8 pillars in our Panama chapter, and we do have chapters that are run by men. Because at the very end, this is a joint effort. We believe that opportunities, that it's not about a quota, but it's yes, we do need to have goals. We do need to have a plan. And for example, at Dell, we have moonshot goals for 2030. And on the gender equality side, we have a very bold statement. Our goal is to achieve that globally 50% of our workforce will be female, and 40% of our leadership it's going to be female. Like, we are going to work towards that. And that's one of the mantra of Women in Action. We do have programs not only to welcome and make sure that we help our community to help girls keep on the STEM careers, because we do have those type of activities. Also, we have works with, for example, NGOs in terms of community passion. We support our customers to show them best practices that we have at the company so they can start their programs on diversity. And in our internal side, we have, for example, women executive leadership programs. So we prepare our women to take ownership of their careers, to say, okay, I want to reach until this place. And also men, for us, preparing our men to understand unconscious bias and how they can support the women around them, not only at the company, but at their houses, it's going to be important, because that's how we can impact the community too.
Amazing. That sounds really good. Congratulations, and keep it up. and we hope we learn a bit more about it later as we keep training the panel. And thank you for being here. And again, very nice to hear from it. I'm going to invite the next panelist, if it is okay. Herna. Herna Muñoz, she is the managing director and owner of HMG. She's Colombian, living in, I want to say Germany, Herna?
Germany.
Yes, thank you for joining us today. Would you like to introduce yourself a little bit?
Yes, please. Thank you very much for inviting me to this meeting. I haven't have contact with the IEEE for some years, but as I was living in Colombia, I was very active with IEEE. I was founder of the computer chapter at the Universidad Distrital, and I was also coordinating all the student branches in South America in the Region 9. I am electronics engineer from Universidad Distrital in Bogotá, and I have a master in computer science in Erlangen. I am the founder and managing director of a high technology IT company in Fürth. In Germany, we are around 90 persons, and we are doing changes in the world with our knowledge. I have been also, and I'm very proud about it, I am the Engineer Power Woman Germany for the 1916. This is a special honor given by the Hanover Messe to women who are distinguished and in leadership in Germany. And that was the first time that a woman which is not coming from Germany received that prize, and I was very honored with it that I had. That was a recognition for the work I have been doing in all this time here.
Amazing! Congratulations!
Thank you, thank you.
That's very good.
So I think the panel today is very important because what I observed, there are more and more women studying in a technical. Excuse me, my English and German is making out. Right now it is 12 o'clock or almost 1 o'clock in the morning here in Germany, and then I am a little bit tired. Excuse me, please. Now there are more women studying technical areas, but what I observe is that it doesn't have changed the representation of women in leadership. We need to do leadership. If you consider like the World Forum in Switzerland, you can see that they are taking decisions about the future of the world. They're taking decisions about economics, strategy, and long term. And there you see a representation of only 16% of them are women. The rest of them are men. And of course, they are taking decisions for all of us. And women and men, I think both points of view are valid, but we are living in this planet. We have opinions we want to change, and it is important that women are empowered in order to change this world. I think also that the reason why women do things, at least the reason why I do things, is that I have a vision. There is something which I want to change, and I want to make matter. What are we doing in this world, and why we are doing things? That is also the main philosophy in my company. At my company, we say we are proud to use the knowledge we have as privileged in this world, with all the knowledge we have and all the opportunities we have, and we are responsible for this knowledge. Mm-hmm. That means we are not working on production of better weapons. We are not working on those type of things. We concentrate, and right now this is what we have been doing. We are leader in software for doing interpretation of pharmacogenetics. Maybe I can explain a very short what it is.
Sure.
Persons, everyone has a different metabolism, and this metabolism depends on the genetic for each person. And that means when we are taking drugs or we are taking food, these are also being processed according to the genetic of each person. And we have developed a method in order to be able to give information on the personal characteristics of one individual, on how these genetics are going to affect when they are taking drugs, they are taking medicines. And this helps the doctor to do what is called personalized medication. And that is what we have been doing, research
Awesome.
and development for the last 6 years. And now it's becoming very well known, and we are becoming to be very successful in this area.
That is
That is
amazing.
what I'm doing. And in my company, I believe, and that is also a second principle, diversity is very important. But we don't understand diversity only as men or women, but also old persons. My oldest employee is a doctor. He's 72 years old. But my youngest is an engineer from Mexico, and she is 21 years old. And there we have all type of persons, 8 different countries, and almost 40% are women. And that is what we do. There are different points of view from different cultures, from different, everything is different. And there, then we achieve to have a very big creativity, and then to make innovation. And that is the principle in the company.
So good that you brought that to the table, because and with the recognition that you receive, it's not that we may have we may be a minority in these fields because we're women, but also we're Latinos, for example. And not every time that's discussed in these kind of panels that we do in women in engineering in IEEE. But it's true. I mean, the diversity has to be in different directions, age-wise, country, geographically. That's very important. And congratulations! What an amazing job you're doing. so glad to have you here. Now, I would like to invite all the other panelists to the screen. Not the scenario, the screen. So we will share some other questions and some other points we would like to discuss today. So once again, thank you, everybody. And I hope this is flowing well. So in general, whomever would like to participate first, can you share with us one experience in your career, in your professional experience, that changed your mindset, that you could say, that's the point where I knew I had to do something different that has me here today?
I can start. So I think that when I was, and I remember this till today, when I was at my first job, I had this amazing boss, but he was kind of father-like because I was very young. So I knew that I was able to have mistakes. For example, that was amazing. I had challenges because it was my first job. I had to learn everything, but I knew that even when I had to overcome my challenge, but by that time, he was going to be there, and it was kind of a safe place. And at some point, he knew that I was in a comfort zone. So whenever I received, for example, a proposal from another company, my company was able to match whatever the other company was proposing. And he had this meeting with me, and he said, I'm not going to pursue to give you what my company is able to match. And I thought, oh my God, he doesn't like me anymore. That's what I thought. I was very young. And he said, probably you're thinking that I don't like you anymore and I want you to leave. But it's not that. It's that I discovered that you are in your comfort zone. You're not challenging yourself, and probably you're not going to do it if you stay here. You need to leave. You need to start learning from mistakes, and you need to start working in an environment that probably is going to be challenging. You will have fear, but you have to overcome it. And at that point, it was harsh back then, but I've always be grateful with that boss.
So good. Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else?
I'll share a moment. Mine wasn't as grateful. In the beginning of my career, I used to be an investment banker at Goldman. And I decided to do that not because I loved that, but it was just because it was hard. And I loved math, and I knew I liked economics and finance. So that was my decision. At some point, I worked so much, like 18 hours a day, 17 hours a day. I didn't have weekends. I remember that I couldn't go to the beach if I had the possibility, because if they saw that I was sunbathing or something, I was like, they would find out and they would give me an extra project that I knew I couldn't handle. So I remember that if we left the office at 11 p.m., they'd say, oh, half period today. So it was other times. I don't think it's like this nowadays anymore, but it used to be like this. And at some point, I started thinking about myself, and I actually met my husband. And he's a surfer. He works in a marketing agency. And I love to say this story because there's always everything outside you, and if there is triggers that help you to see inside, it's really, really important. It's really important to find this equilibrium. So at some point, I was working so hard, and I thought about it, and then I had this project, this deal that we're doing. I said, as soon as we finish this deal, I'm gonna ask to leave. I didn't have anything. I left university. I was working at this great job, and I understood that I've reached the turning point of my life. I've reached the turning point of my career. I had to leave. That wasn't for me anymore. I didn't want to have this type of life, and I knew I would have to take this type of life for the next 4 or 5 years. So I left without anything. I didn't have a job. I didn't have an interview. I didn't have anything. I said, in the end, I can at least study for the MBA. So I had this plan, but I didn't even have done GMAT or anything like this. But it was really important for me. So after that, I started a company, and the company failed, and I studied for the MBA, and I got into the MBA, and then I got into Inbev. But it was a very important decision in my professional life.
Indeed. An important decision and risky one.
Very risky. But in the end, I decided me over my job.
Yeah,
it's important to have this like peace inside you.
Yeah. So Herna, Alberto, any of you would like to share something with us in this question?
Yes, I want to share something. I am a person who is in love with technology since I was very young. And I have been working in telecommunications. I am expert in signaling. And because of that, I was working in Sweden for Ericsson mobile platforms, doing the first mobile phones. And there I had the responsibility over 600 software developers and 100 hardware developers to integrate one of the first mobile phones. and that was a really good experience. People accepted me, and we achieved to be able to put one special functionality, which is called handover. When you are moving with your phone between different cells, then that your call is not going to get interrupted. And we were the first ones worldwide. And everything was really, really, really good. And then I came back to Germany, where I was before. And when I came, I had two small children, a boy 5 years and a girl 3 years old. And before I went to Sweden, I was really, I would say, very well known and accepted in the technical world here in Germany. And then I came back and I thought, okay, that's going to be like that we have too much to do. Then I will be 6 months until I arrange everything. And then I begin to look for something to do. And suddenly I began to look and I found nothing. I was calling all the people I knew. I was putting my network in activation. No call. Nobody wanted to know anything about me. And then a friend of mine who is, at that time, he was the chef of personnel for a very big company in telecommunications world. He told me, Herna, I have to tell you something. I see that you want to work now, but you have to see that in a woman with one child means that 1/4 of their capacity of thinking is gone. And you have two. That means only half of your capacity is there. You are not going to get a direction job. And then I asked, yeah, I don't understand that. I was able to have two children and to manage all this very big group in innovation and being leading on the worldwide level. What is happening there? And then I began to look after that, and I had to look for a job where I was going down in my position, and I recognized I have to begin to work. And then I was struggling something like 1 year, and then I decided, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to found my own company. And then I found my own company where I can do realize all the visions we have. And I have people who share my way of thinking and put diversity in the practice and to do all that. That has been very difficult, but we are getting successful. And I found I was then thinking a lot, why is that happening with women? Why? And then analyzing why when women begin to work, is that the point of view from the men, or is that the experience that when women get married or when women get children, then the work get in a second point of view and a second priority, and then they are not doing what they want to do. And then it's to find this balance. And it's a matter of organization. It's a matter of believing what you are going to do. And I think I would be really bad housewife. I couldn't stay at home and not think and not doing changes, not doing things. And then this point to find what is the balance, how do I keep my family, and of course, very important in the relationship, that I have also the same rights to think and to change the world like my husband. And he shares that with me. And that is the most important thing. That is my experience I want to share.
Thank you. So enlightening. Alberto, would you like to share with us any experience that was determinant in your career?
Sure. And actually, it's a very interesting one, from my point of view, at least. Well, I'm an engineer, so all my career was on engineering. I have a control and systems background, and then for electronics, and then I did a PhD. But when I did my PhD, I sort of switched fields. I moved into what is microbiology. So I went into control systems applied, mathematical models applied to microbiology. So that was a big switch in my way of thinking. First, because of I had to learn a completely new field. And the interesting thing is that biological sciences are mostly dominated by women. There is men, but there's a lot of women in there as well. So that was a big switch in my way of getting into a new field and actually trying to switch my mind into looking into a completely different science, which had nothing to do with engineering, let's say, at that point. That was one big switch in my mind in a way of thinking of how looking at the world. But the next one came years later when I met my wife. So my wife is an architect. She's an architect, and as an engineer, even though I got some feeling of biological science, my way of thinking was very numerical, very square, let's call it. Uh, so when I met her, an architect, she's an artist. She looks at spaces, she looks at colors, she looks at the world with a completely different way. For me, it was a complete change of my way of thinking and looking at the world. Suddenly, I didn't look at boxes. I didn't thought of things like boxes. I think of things have, like corners. They are different colors. And that was something which actually took me into eventually building up a company. I built up a company with a couple of friends. Then I moved out, but the main part of this company was driven by looking into other fields, not just thinking on power systems and electronics, but actually looking into music, art, how technology can get into those fields.
Thank you, Alberto. So good. All the experiences were so good. Thank you for sharing. And in the comments, you will see that people is really inspired by all of this. So our next question is very open. Which are your aspirations at this point? Or and also if you have any movie or book that you would like to recommend to people in the panel? Whomever would like to go first. I don't like to.
Okay, so what's my inspiration or what I think right now? I've seen now and throughout my life path, because I don't have to say that it's based on only professional. I've seen and met so many great women from all ages, and one of the things that it's more common every time, it's that you don't have to be perfect. Understanding that you don't have to be perfect, that it's okay that not all your days are amazing. It's okay that there is a day that is not going to be like a superstar, and that's okay. Like, you don't have to be stuck in the being anxious of, hey, I have to be in a certain way all the time and be happy all the time. No, life is messy, and understanding that will help you reduce a lot of anxiety. And take risks and define your life the way you want. Do whatever you want. It's a difficult thing. I struggle every day understanding this, but I think that from all women that I've seen and that have it pretty much more clear in their lives, that's something that they have very, very clear. Have a support group. Don't hesitate on asking for help. That's another thing. You don't have to do everything by yourself. That's what I've learned. And if I can say about a book, I remember one. My husband gave it to me. It's Strategize to Win from Carla Harris. especially if you are like after graduate school. Read it because she has a lot of good insights in that.
Good. To just it remind me, today I was having a conversation with my husband, and this pandemic philosophical conversation that now we have at home. And I was telling him, actually asking for help is so difficult. That's for me, that's when I feel so vulnerable. Because we want to do things. We are independent, so we feel like weak when we do it. But we have to learn to do it because there's no other way to grow. We cannot do everything alone. So
yeah, I see it in my mom. My mom was raised in a generation, and well, her conditions, where she had to prove double of everything that she had to do. So asking for help for her, because of the way she had to come up in life, it's very difficult and it's not good. Like you have to learn that you're vulnerable and you can ask for help and you're not going to be perfect.
And that's okay.
And that's okay. Exactly.
That's right. So, exactly. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Anybody else would like to share something in this point? Herna, you're in mute.
Yes, okay.
That's the most frequent sentence nowadays with the Zoom and everything. You're in mute. You're in mute. Everybody.
Yeah. So I just have a comment to what Cecibel said. I think when I observe, I interview a lot of women. I try to give empowerment to women. And what I see is that women are very high qualified. They work hard. They know what they do, but they don't have confidence in themselves. And I think confidence wins on competence. And that is important. That has a relationship with the capacity to be able to ask for help. I think when you ask for help, you are not weak, you are strong. You are really strong because you are able to recognize, I cannot do everything, I don't know everything, but what I know myself. And if I don't know, it's not matter, I want to learn more. That means if you are able to do that, you are not saying you are not weak. You are saying, I'm very strong, I realize what is necessary, the world is full for new things. And if you want really to make the difference, alone you are not going to do it. You need a lot of people. You need a lot of other points of view. You need to solve problems. Problems are technology, and that is the reason why I'm an engineer. Then you have technology, and you can change the world with this technology. And today, for me, is a biggest challenge is this world we have been damaging so bad that we have to change and to see how we save the few animals we have there, everything. And this pandemic is part of the damages that human beings have been doing in the world. But we are able to do a change, and alone we are not going to do it. That means be strong, know yourself, and if you know yourself, then you don't have any problem to ask for help, and that is important. Then you are strong, and then you are able to communicate and to make not only network, but to build like together and say, now we achieve to do these things. And that is very, very important.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thais, you are mute. So it seems you want to talk.
Yes. So what I would say are a couple of things. So first of all, women, I think it's harder to find their voices. We have the imposter syndrome. It's more usual. So while men think they need to be grade 6 to go to the next phase, and to be honest, it should be grade 8. Women think they need to be grade 10. So we don't need to score 10. And to be honest, that's something I always tell women. that I interview, that I mentor, is that no one has crystal balls. People don't have. If you don't negotiate for yourself, if you don't tell what you want, no one will guess that. That's just how communication works. And you need to work for you. So I just wanted to build on the confidence that Herna was talking about. I think this is really important. And I'm going to suggest a book about lifting your voice, which is Moment of Lift of Melinda Gates. But another point that I wanted to share here is that I think it's really amazing that this live has a man, because I really believe that diversity, it's about being diverse. It's not about only women. And the beauty of diversity is because we know with diversity, different ideas, we're going to be more creative, and we're going to achieve in the end higher results. That's what you want. Only women, that's not diverse. And it's really amazing that you guys brought in. That's really nice, Alberto, that you're here. And I really think this is not a zero-sum game. This is more men and women, all the types of diversity, we get to a higher place together. So I think this is pretty amazing. We need to know we are not fighting against each other. We need to be united. Women, we need to be better with sorority. Men are really good with having the boys club. We need to be better at that. But in the end, it's not a zero-sum game. We need to unite the forces and to really be able to be stronger. So that's what I would say.
True. Alberto, your turn.
Thank you. Sorry for the interruptions. I had some local emergencies. Regarding the question, what are my aspirations nowadays? I am actually thinking, and with my wife, to build up a new, to get into a new company, a new entrepreneurship with her, and we're trying to blend our fields. So we are looking into some space where we can, bring up something new, which is not common in the markets, blending these two types of knowledge and our expertise. So yeah, we've been thinking about that, and we have a couple ideas, very technological wise, but with a lot of art in it. So that's a project. That's a short-term project, hopefully. And if I have to suggest a book, I think that one of the books, it's not actually a book, but it's more like it's a manuscript, which I read it and I loved it because it's so insightful. It's called it's actually a religious book, so it's called Deus Caritas Est, God is Love, and it's really nice because you get to hear a lot about how love is all around and the different faces that love has. It's written by the Pope, by the way. So I will suggest that one.
Thank you, Alberto. Okay, so now we will be opening for questions from the attendees. I do have one that I love to do in these panels, and is which women inspires you or have inspired you in the past, beside your mom or your wife or your sisters, but beside them, because I truly believe that our families are the first role models that we have. But which women do you think, I love what she does and I follow her, and maybe you can share it with us?
Marie Curie. Yeah, that is a woman who knew what she wanted to do. She was brilliant, but she also dared to have a husband and to keep working and to have their children and her daughter. She did something very special, and that is something which may be applied to talk about here. Her daughter also became a Nobel Prize, and that was because she was given the daughter an education that she was able to think, to learn, to observe the world. to have their own opinion. And when women are mothers and they have sons and they have girls, many times the sons, they learn from the mother not to respect the woman, not to accept that women are able to think, that women are able to work, then that it is, and that is something like a role that we are transmitting to our children. And that is something which she changed so many years ago, and that was a real example how maybe you can do it. For me, she is a very big example.
And now with the Radioactive movie that just came out is really good. It showed her life very well. So yes, I agree with you. Anybody else would like to share a role model with us?
Well, I will. Can I?
Yes.
Hello. Yes, sure. Okay. So one of the courses I teach is digital systems and computer architecture, and I didn't know when during a long time about the history of NASA computers when they sent the first spaceships to orbiting the Earth, and I actually found out a few years ago that the main architects behind these computers were three women working for NASA, and that was really inspiring for me because I understood that the complexity of those systems and the importance of those systems in keeping those people alive up there require very talented people and meticulous persons who were able to not produce errors on the software and the hardware. So that was very inspiring for me because it's not an easy task, and I'm sure they were the right people for that. We cannot hear you, Jen. You're muted.
It had to happen. Cesibel, Thais, any one of you would like to share with us this one?
In my case, I think that it's the one that I like is Amelia Earhart. I'm kind of afraid of heights, but I really like her story and how she crossed the Atlantic and everything, and her drive and passion. So that will be my inspiration.
Thank you.
For me, I have two. So I mentioned before Melinda Gates. I think it's really amazing the way she overturned. And I think it's amazing when in her book when she says she found her voice, even though she was surrounded with Bill Gates, which has a huge voice. And I love that saying. But another one that I really like, it's Malala, because I think she so young is just so genuine the way that she fights for women and also education. And I think she put her life into thread in when she was in such a young age. So, and all she was fighting was for education and for other women to be educated. So it's a beautiful fight that I admire.
Yes, I think we many of us agree with that, and both actually. So we have a question in the chat for all. Do you think having a family hinders a woman's ability to be in leadership?
No.
And if I may add to this, I want to also add to this question if it hinders a men's ability, Alberto, in your case to be in leadership as a dad. So let's move forward.
I would like. So I think, and from my experience, I think the matter is how is your relationship, and that is very important. If you're if you are with a man or a woman who respect you and admire you, then recognize that you have the ability to do leadership, and this person will support you. And in the other way around too. And I have here in Germany, we have an excellent example. That is our Chancellor, Frau Merkel. Her husband is a very well-recognized scientist, also proposed for Nobel Prizes and all this, but you never heard anything from him. He is not in the public life, but he gives her all the support she needs to do the very hard job she's doing. And she supports him in his tasks, also as scientist and professor and all those things. And I have the luck that my husband has been supporting me all the time. I remember when we just got married, once, like, I don't know, maybe 1 or 2 weeks after that, then it was Saturday, and I wanted to organize our apartment where we were living. And then I asked him if he could make me a favor, and he could please go with the cleaner around all that. And he was really angry. He was really angry with me. And then I asked him, what did I say? And then he said, I'm not helping you. I am doing my part of the job because I live here too. Then I have also to clean and to do things. No? And then it was he said, oh yes, sorry. And I excused myself, no? Because he said, we are partners and we are supporting us for everything. And if you have a family, then you have to talk about that clear with your husband. And then it's also going to be an example for the children. And then that is a part. But if you don't have a partner like that support you and you don't talk about that, then it's going to end that the woman is going to have double charge, working and children and home and everything. And that is also not good because at the end you are finished. It's not good. And otherwise you can also enjoy each other.
Absolutely.
So I completely agree with Herna. I mean, it's a team effort. So you both. It's not like the woman has the responsibility on the kids, or it's a team effort. It's both are the parents. We are not equal. We have to say that women and men, we are different.
Yep.
But we have the same responsibility. We have our same. We have to share responsibility. We are a team. We are complementary. We are not the same, but we are complementary.
Yeah. The other day, there is a podcast. Harvard Business Review has a podcast that is Women at Work. Very nice. And in that podcast, they were talking about how nowadays this question becomes less focused only on women because men are embracing this fatherhood, this parenthood, this commitment with kids that I don't know, 20 years ago or 30 years ago was not the same thing. So right now it's a matter how we understand that if parenthood can be an issue for leadership. And no, because nowadays a lot of leaders are parents and are so committed. So we had another question in there it is, from Juan Ortega. Thank you, Juan. How can men help women to raise their voice and reach equality?
I'll jump into that. There are many ways, but first of all, it's not having prejudice and opening in space. So, because in the workspace and in engineering universities, most places women are the minority. We still are the minority. If you still have the same type of thoughts, if you still think women the way women talk and dress in the tone of voice and things like this. If you still think that this is undermining you or things like this is just bad for women. So just giving the opportunity for women to be equal, for them to participate in the games, for them to be able to talk. There's a saying it was also as an expression in Brazil. It's called "place to talk." It was created by this author called Djamila Ribeiro. She's a Black woman, and she says people that are not part of this, they're the only ones that can tell you how you fear, what they're feeling. If you don't try to if you don't try to have empathy and put yourself in the place of the other person that is not in the same place as you and is not part of this majority, if you have this empathy, you're already helping a lot the world. So really have empathy, help, give opportunity. This is already an amazing space. And if you can incentivize, hire women, and really help us to thrive, this is even better. But giving opportunity is amazing already.
Thank you, Thais. Anybody wants to chip in? I would like to add to that that also it's not like a recipe. Is what maybe Thais was saying is remember that we are all people, we are all different persons, and not everybody likes to be helped in the same way. Some people do not like to be pushed. Some people do not like to be exposed, and it's not like a recipe. But one thing I can tell you, the fact that you are right here, right now here, listening to this panel, doing these kind of questions, you just gave 1,000 steps in the right direction. So thank you. Okay, so we have another one that is, what advices can you give to young women, students that are soon to become engineers and enter to the real world? What are some steps that we can take to boost our careers?
I can help you with that one. Actually, at Women in Action, we do have some pillars that are working exactly with community passion, and we have events to work with students from universities to not only students from universities and also from high school to go into STEM careers, and also to those ones in the university to stay at STEM careers, because sometimes happens that there is a shift. They study a STEM career, but then they end up at the workforce in some other area. So what are the things? Whenever you apply, you have to, for example, look for support groups. There are groups at the universities that will help you with guidance on how to be prepared to these type of roles in terms of interviews. There are a lot of organizations and NGOs that support women in tech. So you have to look for help. This is something that it's a common thing. You have to look for help. You don't have to do it by yourself. Another thing, whenever you start your career, look for a mentor. Having a mentor is important, and this ties up with the previous question on how men can help women. At Dell, for example, we have mentorship programs where the highest percentage of mentors that we have in the program are men. And they are mentors to women, and they sponsor women. So if you're a man at a company or in your startup, and you can be a mentor or you can be a sponsor of a woman, do it. Help her understand her career choices and help her understand what are her possibilities. At the end, it's her choice. At the end, it will be her path, but you can help her think in a broader perspective, help her understand all her options, and that will be a very good thing. And also, for example, for men, telling, hey, I am a guy, I have a family. It's not that you are equal, men and women are not exactly the same, but it's possible to have family. And sometimes, for example, our managers talk about their experiences with their wives, and their wives are also professional, and they both share the responsibility of the house. So this is something that men can do, and girls should look for this type of opportunities.
I love that you mentioned mentors and sponsors, because at some point we are very focused on mentoring, and that's like giving advice and try to give other perspectives to help, correct? But a sponsor gives you the shot, gives you the opportunity, gives you the task that is going to make you brighter, but the spotlight.
Opportunity, yeah, the spotlight.
Opportunity. So that's enabling people to show what they are about. So that I love that you mentioned that, because I feel that we are very focused on mentoring, and at some point we need also sponsors. Give me a chat. But thank you.
I would like to say something, because if you have a mentor or a sponsor or whatever, that doesn't help if you don't believe in yourself. And I think the first thing is you have to know yourself. You have to accept yourself. And that means accepting that there are things you can, and believe you can do things and take challenges. And when you go in your job, look for something which fascinates you, where you say, I like that. I'm going to enjoy every day when I go to work, because I am realizing myself. I am have a dream, or I like to do something. Then also, if you are tired or whatever, and you are enthusiastic about your job, you are going to do it, and then believe in yourself. That is the most important thing. If you go to an interview, that is what I'm looking for, the people. I'm looking if the people are themselves. Don't try to show what you are not, but also dare to take a challenge, to take a risk, and do it. But be yourself, know yourself, be yourself, and be fascinated, passionate, get a passion for what you are doing. Then you don't have any problem. The problem is when you are doing something you don't like. Everybody, also the one who is the brightest person, is going to do a bad job, because you are not doing what is noticing. And just dare to do the things, and know you are not perfect. You will never be perfect. And then every time you are learning more, and then you're changing. That's all.
Really inspirational. I agree, Edna. I'm just gonna add. It's hard to add on you, but I will try. So, girls, if everyone is telling you you're amazing, just look yourself at the mirror. You probably are. Believe in it.
Yes, believe.
Fell in love with you. You are amazing. You don't need to always be so critic, and the bar doesn't need to be that high all the time. If the world is telling you something, believe that, and really let yourself fall in love and have passion to do everything you're doing, and have passion in you. This really drives, and this really helps for you to make your decisions, but mostly it really helps every single day, from the time you wake up until the time you go to sleep.
Yeah. And for the young professionals, the other day I was reading that there is a difference in the applications between men and women, most of all in young professionals, and is that if the job descriptions have 10 points, a man is going to apply when he reaches 6 points, but a woman is only going to apply when she reaches 10 out of 10. So again, it is believing yourself, and also the need for perfection that we constantly have, but true. Absolutely. Alberto, anything you would like to suggest to the young women? I know you're a teacher, and it would be great to listen to you as well.
Well, in basing I base my approach in what I just said. I mean, I always believe in men and women as peers. So when I give an advice, I don't say this is an advice for women or this is an advice for men. I just say this is an advice for a young engineer who's gonna be proficient and competent in the field they're gonna work. So, and the advice I usually go for is, you're young, you're clever, you're competent, you are able to do what you want. Just go ahead and do it. Doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl. You are exactly the same. You have the same qualities.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I saw another question in the chat. I'm going to jump and do it. Which are the reasons why women, despite having the ability to work in the STEM fields, avoid doing it or abandon their opportunities? And hi, Eduardo. Thank you.
So I think women are very pragmatical. And many women, what I have observed, they are studying and they realize, they look around themselves. And if you look around yourself and you see that the opportunities are not the same because you are a woman, some of them will say, it's better to study psychology because anyway I will have children and then I can apply that. And that is a very big argument many women have. They have the ability, but they don't dare to say, I want to change this. I like technology and I want to learn that and I want to apply that. But not only just working in that area, also to look for leadership positions. That is important. And they don't see that there are those opportunities. That is the same case like Thais. When she was getting this job and nobody believed that she get it. And she said, she got that because she's a woman. She said, yes, I got it because I'm a woman. And I'm look at my job. But you have to be like strong in that case and be able to fight for that. If it's a man and he says yes, the man would say, yes, I got it because I am a man. And what is the problem with it? Let's do the job. Let's get on the job. But that needs some confidence. And that is where I think it is missing, this confidence. You don't receive it from in your home. You don't see it in the environment, in the society. And many women say, no, it's too hard. Better I do something which I enjoy also, and it's not going to be so hard because it is sometimes very hard.
I agree with her.
I also think. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, okay. I agree with her. I mean, there's a lot of society prejudice. I mean, a lot of women just feel that. I mean, young people, especially in engineering fields, they just feel that they don't want it, or they're just not sufficiently motivated to do it, and that's why they drop out. But I believe it's a society thing, it's a family thing. There's a lot of problems in the upbringing as well. So I don't think we are not gonna do any change once we have women in the university. I think the change has to come all the way from basic education all the way up.
Yes, but that means, and that is a nice question. I was looking at this forum in Switzerland, and it will take 80 years from now until women will have the same level of positions and leadership.
Of opportunity. It's not
and
even
opportunity to have that. And that is, for me, it's too long. That means not even my daughter, not even my granddaughter, we have that scene. That means what we need is women who are now in positions like we are. We have to give opportunity to women, and we have also to fight. And that is, I think, right now it's almost 2:00 in the morning here. And that is the reason why I'm here. Because I think it is important that women say it's not easy, and don't look at if the other ones are accepting you or not. That is not the matter. The matter is, do you have a dream? Do you want to make the difference? Do you want to change something in the world? Then make it. I began to study electrotechnique because I wanted to make possible that in Colombia was easy for everybody to communicate with each other. And now I am working in genetics because I see that is something which is going to improve the quality of people who are taking 13 drugs a day. And who are, sometimes I had a patient a very short time ago, he has taken 31 different drugs every day. This is not quality of life. And with the things we have been doing, it is available for everyone to do that within 1 minute. We do this interpretation. And that is what we are doing. It's a team of 49 people working on that. That is the dream we have. And many people like or not don't like. It doesn't matter. You have to say, do I care so much what everybody else say? Or maybe do I want to make a change, to contribute and in a small amount with my capability, my fantasy, the people I know, to make a change, to make this better, this world a little bit better and not a little bit worse. And that is the decision indeed that you have to do. And if you say, yes, I want to make a change, then it's not going to be easy always. Sometimes it's going to be very nice, but most of the time it's not easy. But it doesn't matter. We are fighters.
Exactly. So moderators are supposed to not participate in panels, but I truly have to share this with this question. So in my first job, I was dismissed at midday. It was a boiler workshop, and I was supposed to be the service coordinator and the leader mechanical of the senior mechanic of the workshop. Said that he was not going to be led by a young woman. And I was dismissed after 4 hours, and the owner was like, we can pay you for the 4 hours. And I was like, those 4 hours I'm not going to pay for my my deeply hurt heart right now. So one thing that happened that day is the first thing you think about is, we're dropping this is not working. Why I didn't study psychology or any other thing. I wanted to play saxophone in my life, so why not? And then having the support of my peers, men and women, and like shaking me, that was very important. So maybe this address a little bit what Eduardo was saying, and is, once again, the fact that you're here, the fact that you want to know, to understand how to support and how to make this difference, maybe can shorten this 80-year time frame that we have to have the same opportunities and have something better upcoming. So there, that's what I wanted to share. I shouldn't.
I'll just add on one thing is, education is really important. So everyone that has family, please help us. But don't leave for the future. The moment is now. We are in this, we have a great momentum right now, and we have the ability to discuss. We cannot leave for K-12. We cannot leave. You can help women in many ways, giving them opportunity to be, if you guys are in university, to be in this really great group study, or when you're able to hire someone, to really have an equal opportunity hiring. This is already amazing. So we need to change this now. I think this is important.
Thank you. So we have another question. Do you believe gender equality programs can effectively work on companies, or should we take a step back, working on outside culture first? So maybe, Cecibel, would you like to help us with this one, with women at work? I'm sure that you have a lot of experience in this point.
I was already taking off the mute. Yes, they do work. I'm not gonna lie. It's a very complex issue, and you're not gonna solve it in one day. The way we see it is that you have the gender equality programs are in different fronts. For example, you definitely need to attack the talent acquisition process. For example, you have to make processes that are embracing diversity. And now, for example, at Dell, we took not only in terms of gender equality, we took it into the diversity program, because we are looking for people with special needs, women, in terms of faith, in terms of sexual orientation. We are looking for diversity in all ways. So this is something that it can't be under gender based. That's the first thing. The second thing, when you have development programs in terms of gender, yes, you take into consideration, for example, that you have to support women to stop going up into the ladder. But as a company, you cannot leave out men. So you can define programs that are specifically for women to make able to cross that glass ceiling, but also the development side for other for men, basically. So it's a complex thing. Another thing that we do is that we attack other two pillars. The high school girls, school basically, to be able to help them understand what's a career and in STEAM. And the myth is that you're going to be coding all the time. So we take girls from high school to the company and see, hey, you can work at tech and do so many different things that are not exactly coding. So a career in technology is whatever you want to be. And another thing, for example, is to attack girls, well, not attack, but to work with girls that are in university to keep in the STEM environment. We have seen so many girls studying engineering that went to the service sector. It's not that the service sector is bad, but they have this misconception that they are going to be judged, or that it's going to be a hard work, and then they cannot have a family. So what we have done is that we created, and we went to present webinars to university students, where we presented real leaders from the company, from Dell, that had 15 years, 20 years at the company. They are directors, senior directors, have 2-3 children, and they say, hey, it's possible. It's possible to have a career in tech. It's possible to be successful, and it's possible to be married and have 3-4 children. So you can do it. If I did it in a generation that it was twice difficult, you can do it now, and you can do it far better. So this is something that we do too. And the final thing that we do, we also work with on NGOs, because we cannot leave aside those women that come from social difficulty areas, and danger areas. These women that, for example, had teenager pregnancy, or these women that didn't have a very technical education, we do have to help them too. And we cannot forget about them. So, for example, we have trainings that we take them to the office, and we have this specific training room where we have a 2-3 day training workshop, where we present how to do an interview, how to present a CV, how to dress to a formal interview. So you have to work on so many different paths to be able to have this ecosystem. It's not an easy thing, but you have to start, and you have to start now.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 10 minutes to go. We're going to leave there the questions, and we would like to invite each of you to leave us with one sentence, one mantra, one thing you want our attendees to go with that you understand is going to help them to keep growing as persons and professionals. Herna, you're in mute.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I had one sentence, one proverb from China or Japan, and I thought that it applies very well to what we were talking now. I heard Thais, and I remember about that, and that is the best time to plant a tree. It was 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is today. And that is what we have to do. Women can change the world. We can do it. Then please, it's hard, but it's possible, and it makes you happy. Then you have a life, then you can say, oh, I did something. It did matter that I've been here. We all are privileged. We can read, we visit a university, we have a job. If you compare that, we are really a small group of people, women who have privileges. Then use that, have responsibility for your things. Plant the tree today. That's what I would say to all of you.
Amazing, thank you. Anybody else? Alberto.
I will. Yeah. What I would just like to leave as a last line is that no goal is easy. I mean, you have to work for it, and there's the people who are successful in life is not only because they are clever, but because they've worked very hard for it. So what I would say is that if you want to get something, you want to get somewhere, you have to work for it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cecibel.
What I say is that, girl, you are amazing the way you are. You don't have to be perfect. And don't worry, you can ask for help. You don't have to be perfect. Just do the best you can. Be passionate about what you do, and the sky's the limit. That's it.
Thank you. Thais, your closure.
What I have to say is have courage to find your voice, have courage to look inside at you and really follow your dreams. If you're part of this, you're probably an amazing woman or man, and just let yourself be seen and speak up and find your voice.
Excellent, thank you. I want to thank you all for being here. A specific thank you to Herna, because it's 2 a.m. where you are, and thank you for sticking with us. It was very inspiring. Thank you, Alberto. I know this is not a frequent panel, and we appreciate that you are here because Lisa is the current WIE chair, and what she says very oftenly, and I agree with her, is we need to talk about these things. That's if we create this noise, if we at least address these kind of topics, that's going to make a difference. And having you here, I am sure that it helps to this diversity that we're trying to generate. Cecibel, Thais, so good to see young, powerful woman in this panel. Very inspired by you too, and thank you very much. And one quick thank you to Gabriel, to Ana, to Susana, and to Rosa. I can't be prouder of you two, you four. This event has been amazing. And from my side, all I can say is next year is going to be a tremendous year for Region 9, IEEE Region 9. We have a lot of leadership positions in IEEE filled by people from Latin America. Again, talking about the diversity that Herna was mentioning before, not only with women, but in general from Latin America. And in my case, I would be the first Latina in that point, in that position in all the existence. And knowing that we have this quality of people in the team, I know that you are the ones that are going to make this group and these events great in the future, even better than whatever we are doing right now. So thank you very much for putting this together. Amazing event. And that's it. Anna, come and rescue me. No, she's not coming.
I'm here. No,
Yay!
Thank you very much for your participation in this panel, all this activity, hearing you was amazing. You can see all the comments that we have in all the platforms. So thank you very much for your time, for being part of this. And we invite you to be part of the activities that we're going to do next year, but physical experience, not this virtual. This is the way we can have it. But the idea is next year to have all these activities in Medellin, in Panama, and in Brazil, in Medellin, Colombia. So thank you very much for all your time. Thank you very much for the people that was connected with us. I think that we have another activity tomorrow and another activity on Saturday. Thank you very much for being part of this, and good night.